Hi, I'm LoAnn Halden, Vice President of Communications for the International LGBTQ Travel Association. Welcome to LGBTQ Plus Spells Resilient. We're proud to present as part of Unite 2020.
And I'm Clark Massad, Vice President in charge of Global Partnerships for IGLTA. And I'd like to start us off today by talking about IGLTA and the IGLTA Foundation, who we are and what we do, and give you a little bit of history of our organization. IGLTA was created in 1983 by a group of gay guest house owners and travel agents in Southern Florida. And today we have a network of more than 7,000 tourism professionals in 80 countries. And a little bit of interesting history about our name. When the association was created, it was actually IGTA, the International Gay Travel Association. And in 1997, we added the L to include our lesbian sisters. And in 2019, we actually changed our name to be the International LGBTQ Travel Association to be more inclusive and welcoming of the bi, trans, and queer brothers and sisters that make up our community. The plus refers to all the other groups within our community, including our straight allies. Our members are hoteliers, airlines, cruise lines, travel agents, tour operators, travel media, anybody that has a travel-related product or service that they want to market to the LGBTQ+ travelers. We provide them with resources on our website, through our social media networks, and through our e-marketing channels to promote their products and services. As I said earlier, we're present in 80 countries. We have a network of more than 7,000 tourism professionals. Our social media reach is 67,000 individuals, and our consumer engagement reaches up to 162,000 individuals. And on an annual basis, we reach more than 4 million LGBTQ+ travelers worldwide. The IGLTA Foundation is the charitable branch of our organization, and it supports the IGLTA mission through research, education, and leadership. And this is seen through our fellowship program at the annual Global Convention, and also through research such as the study that LoAnn is going to walk you through in just a few minutes. Now, just to put this into context and give a little bit of perspective as to what we're talking about as far as the LGBTQ+ travel market value, the global LGBTQ+ spending power is estimated at US $3.6 trillion. And the travel spend of that for the US market is estimated at $100 billion. So as you can see, this is a very important, very significant, lucrative market, and one that any travel professional should be interested in tapping into. So to put a little bit more context behind that, I'd like to now turn it over to my colleague LoAnn, who's going to walk us through the results of our recent LGBTQ+ travel survey post-COVID-19. LoAnn?
Thank you, Clark. Those of us who have worked in LGBTQ+ travel for a number of years have seen firsthand the resilience of the LGBTQ+ community. There's been a lot of anecdotal evidence about LGBTQ+ travelers being among the first to get back out and explore the world after a major crisis, such as 9/11 or the financial crash of 2008. But we haven't had a lot of data to document what all of us who have worked closely with the industry know. So earlier this year, we set out to track the sentiments of LGBTQ+ travelers globally with our post-COVID-19 LGBTQ+ travel survey. And using our network of LGBTQ+ media partners and with the support of our foundation, we gauged responses from approximately 15,000 travelers identifying as LGBTQ+ around the world, with the largest segments coming from the United States, Brazil, Canada, France, and Mexico. And we did indeed find a strong desire amongst LGBTQ travelers to get back out on the road in 2020. 2/3 of our respondents said they would feel comfortable traveling again for leisure before the end of the year, with September and October the most popular choices. What was also really interesting was that nearly half of the respondents said they would not change the types of destinations they choose to visit after coronavirus is resolved. And although this is slightly less than half, if you look at the rest of the data, you see that only 28% said they would definitely change their destination choices, while 25% of respondents were still undecided. So you can see a high degree of destination loyalty amid the uncertainty. What we know about our community is, in addition to being resilient, they're also an incredibly loyal group of travelers. And so for the destinations and businesses that have successfully made them feel welcome and safe, they're rewarded with return business from LGBTQ+ travelers. We also wanted to do a benchmark against the travel community at large. So we looked to the US Travel Association, which used MMGY Global to look at the likelihood of doing a variety of travel-related activities over the next 6 months. Stay at a hotel or resort, stay in a vacation home or condo, take a domestic leisure trip, take an international leisure trip. And we tracked our responses against their data. And you can see from this graph that in every instance, LGBTQ+ identified travelers came out that they would be more likely to participate in these activities than the travel community at large. And if you look at the US travel bar, you'll see hash marks at the end of the line. And that's indicative of US travels data was collected every 2 weeks. So this fell in a range over the course of time our survey was in the field. So we reflected that range, but still in each instance, you'll see that the LGBTQ respondents, even at the higher end of the community at large range, came out again as more engaged and interested in returning to travel. And this was the second part of that data set, which focused on take a group trip, take a cruise, and visit an amusement park, which are of course all activities that put you in even more close contact with large groups, which is why you see the percentages go down. We tracked a little bit closer to the community at large here, but you can also see, again, LGBTQ+ travelers showing a greater amount of interest in most categories. The only category here that US Travel did not track was attend a Pride event or LGBTQ festival, something that is, of course, very important to our community of travelers. So we wanted to capture that data as well.
So now we want to take you through a few tips and trends in reaching LGBTQ+ travelers. And I'll start off with a few tips for connecting with LGBTQ+ travelers. The most important one being, do your homework. You should look at this market as you would look at any other market, whether that would be senior travelers, single travelers, family travelers. You should do your homework and do your research on the LGBTQ+ market as well. IGLTA offers resources like the survey information that we just presented, and we have partners and members that do LGBTQ+ research, specific research. So you can tap into our network to help you with that aspect of it. You also want to engage with local LGBTQ+ organizations. By bringing them into your network and into your work in marketing towards LGBTQ+ travelers, you will be getting their buy-in and getting their assistance and their cooperation with reaching out to this community. It also shows to LGBTQ+ travelers that you are committed to the community and that you are serious, and will give you an opportunity to speak to them in a way that is pertinent to them and resonates with them. You want to make diversity and inclusion a priority within your organization, but also within your marketing and within the way that you are speaking with LGBTQ+ travelers. Be sure that your website includes images of same-sex couples or same-sex families make sure that your website is not just straight couples or straight families enjoying your products and services or destination. We would also encourage you to use real people in your images on your website. If possible, steer away from stock photos, because a lot of those stock photos have already been used and have already been seen in a lot of other media. So try to spend the time and the money and invest in making your own images in your own campaign. You also want to think beyond nightlife. Not all LGBTQ plus travelers travel just for the nightlife aspect of a destination. Many of them are interested in cultural events. It could be film festivals. It could be pride events also. They may be interested in culinary tours as well, concerts, opera, music, any other kind of festival as well. So don't focus only on nightlife. Go outside of that and cast your net a little bit larger. You may also, if your destination is not necessarily known as being LGBTQ plus welcoming and inclusive, you may also have chefs or artisans or other community leaders that are part of the LGBTQ plus community that you can focus on in your social media. You can tell their stories and demonstrate to the LGBTQ plus community as a whole how welcoming and inclusive you are by telling their stories. You also want to support initiatives for change within your community. Keep in mind that more than 70 destinations worldwide still criminalize same-gender relationships. So you want to be part of that change and demonstrate your leadership role as supporting change within your community. Keep in mind, too, that this is a long-term relationship. You want to commit your efforts to building loyalty over time. Just hanging out the rainbow flag in front of your business is not going to automatically bring LGBTQ plus travelers in. They want to know you're committed. They want to know that you're serious. They want you to speak to them in a manner that is pertinent and resonates with them as well. So it's going to be a process of building that loyalty over time. As LoAnn mentioned earlier, we saw in our recent research study that LGBTQ travelers are very loyal to brands that support them. So by showing your support for the community early on, you will build that brand loyalty with LGBTQ travelers. So LoAnn, I'll turn it over to you now to talk about some of the upcoming trends in LGBTQ plus travel.
Thank you, Clark. One of the most frequent questions that I'm asked from journalists around the world is about what are the upcoming trends in LGBTQ plus travel. So I want to touch upon a few of them that have been really significant recently. The first one being multi-generational and family travel. LGBTQ family travel is on the rise, and that represents more than just same-gender parents with their children. It also includes family groups with a child, grandparent, or other relatives who are LGBTQ+. As more people come out to their families and find acceptance, you see a greater desire for bonding experiences. We saw an interesting case study recently with the NGO PFLAG in China, which has hosted several multi-generational cruises, and they attracted up to 1,000 LGBTQ plus Chinese people and their families on a 2019 trip. And what I think we'll see after the pandemic is the need to connect with families being even more increased. So you'll see a lot more trips with that multi-generational aspect. Honeymoons and destination-based weddings. This is not a new trend. This has been going on for a while. However, as rights change around the world and different destinations continue to implement legislation that allows for same-sex marriages, we'll see this trend continue. With more destinations creating outreach for travelers that now feel safe and welcome to celebrate the most significant milestone of their life in these destinations. Using trusted travel advisors. LGBTQ travelers are an incredibly savvy group, and so we have seen in the past them being much more self-starting and doing a lot of their own travel booking. But with the COVID era, we're definitely going to see a shift toward the use of more trusted travel advisors. We saw during the lockdown phase how many people got stranded around the world. And so having someone who has your back, who's reliable, who can help you navigate all the new rules and regulations of pandemic era travel is critical across all orientations and genders. But it becomes equally significant, if not more so, with LGBTQ plus travelers, because they not only need to get home safely, but they also need to feel safe and welcome where they're traveling. And as Clark mentioned, because there are still more than 70 countries in the world where LGBTQ relationships are criminalized, having someone who understands the laws of these countries and can help you negotiate them safely is incredibly important. Event-based travel. This one is on hold at the moment just because large gatherings are a challenge, but we fully expect this to return in full force. Pride and LGBTQ events around the world have continued to grow over the years because they create a compelling reason for LGBTQ people to travel, particularly when they take place in a new city or destination or have an innovative format. Because this is a way for LGBTQ travelers to explore not only the culture and the destination itself, but to really connect in the community with like-minded people while they're there. And this is especially important if in their home location they feel isolated, they're not able to be out because of the culture or because of family reasons. So again, event-based travel should come back bigger than ever in the future. And finally, greater diversity in destinations. This is also a trend that we've seen evolve throughout the timeline of IGLTA. In the beginning, you saw a lot of destinations that were very typical because they had large, quote unquote, neighborhoods. They were big cities that had visible LGBTQ plus communities, and that was where the community tended to flock. However, as LGBTQ plus travelers have begun to feel more safe and as rights have expanded around the world, we're now seeing a much richer choice of destinations, reaching out to our community and understanding the importance of connecting with LGBTQ plus travelers. So whereas in the beginning it might have been Tokyo, now you're seeing Osaka and Kyoto and even smaller regional destinations in Japan doing LGBTQ plus outreach. Or for example, in Brazil, it was Rio and Sao Paulo, but now you're seeing Bahia doing outreach to the LGBTQ plus community. And this is a trend, again, that will just expand as the world becomes more open and receptive to welcoming LGBTQ plus travelers.
Thank you, LoAnn. And before we wrap up, I would just like to recognize our IGLTA global partners. These are leading travel brands that support IGLTA on an annual basis. And in turn, we give them significant recognition on our website and through our presentations such as these. Without their support, IGLTA would not be able to accomplish its mission. So we want to recognize all of our global partners and our members that support the mission of IGLTA. Our contact information is on screen. Please feel free to reach out to either one of us by email. You can also access our research, the research that was presented in this presentation and other research projects at iglta.org/research. And if you'd like to join our organization, please visit iglta.org/join to become a member of IGLTA.
Thank you for your support and interest in LGBTQ plus travel. We look forward to welcoming you into the IGLTA family of travel businesses. And together we can help make the world more safe and welcoming for all travelers.